everybody, it's Dr. Jo, and today I'm going to show you 5 treatments for plantar fasciitis. So let's get started. Disclaimer alert, disclaimer alert. If you haven't already, make sure and click the subscribe button right down there. So, you like my fancy compression socks? I'm going to talk about those a little bit later. So with plantar fasciitis, a lot of times you have that pain right there on that plantar fascia, but sometimes you can have it just at your heel, in the back, way up top, so it doesn't always have to be at your arch. Plantar fasciitis can be caused by a lot of different things. It can even be caused by your knees and your hips, so it's really important to kind of find out what's going on, especially if you're treating the plantar fasciitis and it's not getting better. So the first thing that I like to do is really get the joints moving in the foot. We have so many bones and joints in our foot, all along here and all along here. So to get those joints moving, you can just really simply start off like kind of curling your toes down this way, fanning them up this way, rolling them to the side, back and forth. And what that's doing with those joints is just kind of mobilizing them, bending in like this. If those joints are tight or maybe have some adhesions or scar tissue in there, that's gonna increase that plantar fasciitis because your foot's not gonna be moving how it's supposed to. So you can just spend 1 or 2 minutes on this. You don't have to do a lot. You can, again, kind of fan out those toes, push down on them, curl them in, push that way, you know, fan forward, fan back. Just really get all those joints around the foot, even the heel and the back, kind of wiggle back and forth just to get those moving. And a lot of times that will just help loosen it up and that will feel really good as well. So the next one is just using a ball to kind of roll stuff out. So this is a little cross ball. You can use a tennis ball, you can use a racket ball, you can really use anything. You can use a foam roller if you want to. I like using a lacrosse ball because it's a little bit firmer and it gives you a little more pressure. But if you have plantar fasciitis and it's really tender and painful, you might just want to start off with something like a racket ball or a tennis ball that's a little more squishy. So to start off with, I like to stretch the big toe, or we call it the first ray, because if you have a lot of stiffness in that big toe and you don't get that toe extension, when you're walking, you don't get that normal gait pattern. So if this is tight, that can cause plantar fasciitis as well. So sometimes I think we forget that first ray or that big toe, but it's really important to stretch. And I like the ball because you can just focus on that big toe there. And I'm going to turn it this way just so you can see it, where the rest of my toes kind of go down, but that big toe stays on the ball just to stretch it out. So I really like that. You can use it like a traditional stretch, hold it for 30 seconds, take a break, do that 3 times, or you can do some shorter ones if it's really tight and painful and do like a 15 to 20 second and do maybe 5 of them. So then, still with the ball, after you get that big toe, then start rolling it down into the ball of your foot. And that's where those tarsal muscles are around in here, metatarsals and all that kind of stuff. And so you really want to get each and every part. So all of that ball of the foot down into the arch on the inside, on the outside, but make sure you go all the way down to the heel because that's where that plantar fascia attaches, and a lot of times people have that heel pain. So I always say even just kind of go past it a little bit, but really get that whole area. You can go up and down a couple times, or you can just spend, you know, all your time in one spot, move down, all your time in the next spot. Going maybe again 1 to 2 minutes, 3 if you want a little bit more. I'm doing it standing. That's going to give me a little more pressure to push through the ball, so I feel a really good stretch with this. Again, if you're tender and that plantar fascia bottom of the foot, you might want to start doing it sitting down in a chair so you don't have to put as much pressure on it. But still, even standing, I can do a little bit of pressure versus a lot of pressure. So it's really up to you. You want it to be that hurt so good feeling. You don't want it to just be painful the whole time. So make sure you're getting that whole bottom of the foot there. So the third treatment is using some sort of compression socks. And the folks at Eversport sent me their compression socks for plantar fasciitis. And these are really cool. They have a lot of great components to it. You can see that it's open at the toes. That gives you a couple different benefits. One of it is just to kind of keep the flow in your toes so it's not so close up, because you can put socks over this, so then it prevents, you know, any kind of fungal infections and things like that. It's got some nice compression here and here so it doesn't slide, which I like that as well. You can see here at the heel there's some reinforcement, and then there's also some extra support at that arch. So a lot of times with plantar fasciitis, that arch starts to fall a little bit, and this just kind of helps support it so it doesn't have so much pressure on it. And so these are really great. I like them because they're pretty versatile. Like I said, again, since they're not these big, huge things, you can put your regular socks over them, which is really nice if you want to, or you can just wear them as is. So that's nice as well. Again, super comfortable, and you can see that extra support there and that extra support there as well. So if you're interested in purchasing the socks, make sure and click up here. So the fourth treatment is really getting almost like a pre-gait movement. A lot of times with plantar fasciitis, what happens, even if it's something coming at our hips or our knees, we end up not getting a normal gait pattern or a normal walking pattern. And a lot of times I have with my patients and folks really doing an exaggerated step. So hitting your heel first and really coming through on your toes like this. So you can do that in slow motion, and you can really just stay in one spot. So you don't necessarily have to do the heel strike to start off with. I like to do the full going through like that, but you can really just kind of start in this position and just roll up onto your toes. So again, it's really kind of working that first ray, that big toe as well. You want to keep your foot forward. If you're going out and getting pressure in different spots on the outside, then you're not really getting that full stretch. So a lot of times that's what happens is people end up rolling out on the outside of their foot, and they're not getting that good proper follow through. So just standing like this and doing, you can even use your arm a little bit to give you an extra push forward, but really getting that exaggerated, I'm curling my toes, I'm going up on my toes movement. And again, then if you want to add in, you know, kind of a heel start here and push through, you can. And do that, you know, 5 to 10 times. If that feels pretty good, then you can kind of bump up from there until you get to about 15 or 20, and then you can actually do the distance walking and really just exaggerate that heel to toe strike just to loosen everything up. And so the last one is going to actually be a plantar fascia massage. So I'm going to sit down and show you how to do that. To stretch out the plantar fascia, you really want to get the whole bottom of the foot, just like when you were rolling with the ball. You can stretch it out a couple different ways, but what I like to do is really just use my thumbs to get down in there. You can use a lotion or a cream if you want to, so there's not as much friction, but you don't have to use the lotion or cream if you don't want to. What I usually like to do is start off just by taking my thumbs and pushing right down the middle of that fascia, and just get all the way to the end past the ball of the foot, and then go out like that. So just doing that a couple times. If you have some inflammation, you might feel those adhesions or scar tissue in there, and where you feel that a little more, it will probably be more sensitive, and that just means you really need to work on that spot a little bit more. So after you do this for about 30 seconds, maybe a minute, then you're going to start fanning outwards. So then I like to take the thumbs and then just go outwards, just kind of fanning out. And then once I get closer to where those joints are in the foot, I like to then pull a little bit too. So I'm just kind of spreading out everything and then stretching out those joints a little bit as well. So just moving through, going through the top, just getting that stretch, starting all the way down at the heel, fan out there, keep on going. And so you really want to do this for about 3 to 5 minutes, but a lot of times it's pretty uncomfortable, but that's really going to get a good stretch while you're here. You can even, you know, stretch out the toes if you want to. You can take each joint and just kind of do some joint mobilizations at the end as well, but taking each one and going up and down just to get a lot of movement in there and flexibility in there as well. So you can do that while you're massaging. I like to do that as well. Again, just kind of taking each joint at the toes and then getting that movement from side to side. So that does a really nice job too, and usually gets it feeling a lot better. So one more time, fanning out and then just going straight down that way. So if you're interested in purchasing the Eversport compression sock, make sure you click on the link up here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking on the link down here. And remember, be safe, keep your plantar fascia feeling good. Have fun, and I hope you feel better soon.